What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the U.S.S. Voyager Season 1 Episode 8 tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me support the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 15-minute episode, and we'll be picking up right where we left off in Episode 7, finishing up the wireframe on our lower hull, and we're also going to start adding in some more layering to flesh out the lower hull with some hints of detail that we'll be doing in the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So you can see I'm just progressing back now. You're probably going to notice I'm not copying what I have above me. But at the same time, as far as my original wireframe template that I did for the lower hull, just as a reference, I haven't deleted that at this point, even though I'm not using that. I still want to have that up so that I can compare the two. This isn't something I usually do very often when I'm doing my builds, but I have done it before, and it's not a bad exercise because you can see what you had and what you have, and maybe what's working more is more or less the reason why I have the two templates up at the same time and why I haven't deleted the old one. So now, you know, as I go, you're going to notice I'm going to keep looking up at what I have above me, and then I'm going to look down. That's because I'm trying to compare to decide. I'm like, okay, does what I had before work better, or does what I have now work better? And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at my reference material, whether that's a picture of Voyager or preferably a 3D model or physical model, and I'm going to reference that as a way to kind of see which direction I need to go in. One of the things I like with my new template as opposed to my old one, and I'm going off of my 3D model right now, I'm looking at the angle that Voyager starts to progress inward, the lower hull, where it's meeting up with the pylons, and it's meeting up with what will become the landing area for the shuttle bay. You notice that it's not a straight line back anymore, or it's not so flat, it's starting to angle backwards. So now what that's basically telling me is that I need to shorten my pattern and maybe go in a pattern of 4 or go in a pattern of 3 to go at that angle more inward. This is why I say, you know, try to pay attention to the patterns that you're using, because this is a pattern and I'm going with a pattern of 4. I know that going with a pattern of 4, it's going to give me a certain angle on my cut line. This is why I say it's so important to, and I made a mistake somewhere because that's going to end up being 5. So this is how you can go back and check your work. Again, and I've done this before. I've made this mistake. Anybody has. It's a, honestly, it's a honest mistake that anybody can make. Even if you think you're paying attention, you could easily make a mistake in your pattern. And so basically, just in order to fix this, I'm just going row to row counting to make sure each row matches in a pattern of 4. So I made a mistake somewhere, and it's just a matter of catching where that was. So it sucks because we're basically just going to have to go back and adjust all of that. Except I should have brought the it's not going back far enough for me. This row right here, I should have brought this out one more by one and maybe go over the other side and count that out to make sure that they both match. But you can say I put it down and then I second guess myself and I deleted it and I just leave it, but that's what we should have done. This is why I say when you do one thing, do it on the other side. This way it's fresh in your mind, you're least likely to make a mistake. But we've got our builder lines that we do, and we go back and we check our work, and hopefully doing these things, we're not going to make a mistake. Now, inevitably, I am going to make a mistake somewhere that I'm not going to catch, and someone's going to comment in the comment section to let me know. Definitely appreciate that, but listen, nobody is perfect. This is why I say that I try to embrace my mistakes that I make on here, so that I can show you guys how to fix them. I feel like a lot of people, if they do tutorials and it's just a perfect flawless process from beginning to end, that's great and all, but in my opinion, you're not doing that person any favors, basically giving them a tutorial with training wheels on it. That's more or less how I look at it, because you're cutting out that process of trial and error. And it's like, okay, what do you do when something's not working? What do you do when you make a mistake? This is why I feel like it's so vital to show these things, because really what I'm trying to do here is show you guys everything that I do with my build process, everything. I'm not going to say that I'm the best teacher or that I have my process down or that I can explain things perfectly, but I'm trying to do it in a way that makes sense for you guys, and I'm trying to teach you guys to do these ships the way that I do them, so hopefully you guys can do your own builds on your own without even needing a tutorial. But with that being said, you know, I'll always have builds that I'm going to be doing in the future to help people out. If there's stuff that you have questions about, I mean, heck, I had a guy just this past weekend on my Discord. He's getting ready to work on his Enterprise E, and I've never built a Sovereign class before. And I let him know, I'm like, you know, I've never built it, but I can give you some suggestions. And I brought up some things that I did on Voyager. I took some screenshots. I showed him as a point of reference as far as what he could do. So, I mean, if you do have questions regarding a build, and if it's not directly related to one of my tutorials, you can still ask, and if I can, I will help you. If there's something I feel that I can help with it, and I will try to. So, if that's something you're wanting, you're needing help, be sure to drop a comment below, or if there's any questions that you have regarding today's episode, definitely love hearing from everybody. But no, I think Voyager is going to work out pretty good. There's going to be some things that we're going to have to make adjustments to, but this will be a great learning experience, because Voyager, as I was telling the guy over the weekend, it's not unsimilar to the Enterprise E. And the Enterprise E, ironically, is starting to turn into one of my highest requested builds. I'm sensing now at this point that it's only a matter of time before I'm going to build it, but I'm trying to hold off on how many Enterprises I do at the same time. I don't want my YouTube to be just U.S.S. Enterprise builds, but that's I'm not saying that I won't do them, but I want to spread them out a bit, because I've got the Enterprise D Season 2 that's going to be coming up. And then we also have the Enterprise A 1.1 tutorial that I'm going to be doing once we hit 1,000 subscribers. And then also the Enterprise G. Because of Enterprise D Season 2, as well as Enterprise A 1.1, I might actually hold off on doing the Enterprise G for a little bit, and maybe do a couple other builds in between. I am going to build it. I've committed to it. I've got it listed on my Discord as far as one of my upcoming builds. I've actually got a ton of upcoming builds listed on my Discord. I've got over 15 of them. I'm not going to go through the whole list, so if you want to see or get an idea of what I'm going to be doing in the future on here outside of what I've already talked about, be sure to join the Discord, because I've already got them listed under upcoming builds. Also, I do need help. If there's any small builds you guys want to see me do, I need you to drop a comment below. Let me know on my YouTube or Discord, because I want to be able to put out some more content for you guys. Really what I'm looking for is stuff that I can maybe do within a single episode. So, like as an example, my Borg Cube, I was able to do that one episode. These other two aren't great examples, because I think I did them within 3 or 4 episodes, but the Enterprise A mock tutorial and the Enterprise D mock tutorial, they were still relatively very short. I am actually going to go back at some point. I don't know if it'll be like a redo of the Enterprise A 1.1, but I am going to be doing a single episode on a starter guide on doing starships for the very first time. And it's going to be a single episode. Yeah, I guess it'll be kind of like a remake of the Enterprise A mock tutorial, because my only problem with that is that Enterprise A mock tutorial is actually the very, very first tutorial that I ever did. The first 2 episodes of it anyway. And that was a way for me to get my feet wet into doing tutorials and get an idea of things that I needed to do. But what I was trying to do, I wasn't experienced enough at the time to get everything down in one episode. So that's going to be coming up. So I want to briefly get back in what we got going on here. You can see that I finished my wireframe for the lower hull. I'm happy enough with it that I'm going to come back and I'm going to get rid of my old template up here. I'm not going to delete all of this live. I'm just going to get rid of all of that. Once we do that, we're going to head over to the next portion of today's episode, and we're going to go back to our layering point on our saucer section. So you can see I've got the white quartz. I'm going my cut line right off the half slab. And we're going to do this going all the way around. I apologize if you guys are getting tired of hearing me say that we're going to go all the way around, but that's just kind of how this is going to be. I figured that there's one of two ways that I can do stuff like this. I could either build it out live, which can take, just for something like this, I mean, this in itself, what I'm doing right here, if I would have built all this out live, this might have taken up the majority of today's episode. So that's why you see me building out a portion of it, showing you guys what the template needs to be. We've got the quartz, and then we do a row of white concrete, and then the quartz again. And we're going to do that going all the way around. And then once we've done that, then we're going to add another row of white concrete going all the way around. Then once you've completed that, we're going to do a row of half slabs on top of that row of white concrete. Again, don't worry about those holes that you see there in the hull. We'll be addressing that later on. Right now, our main focus with the hull on the saucer is getting the shape right. And that's looking at it from multiple angles. Once we've got the shape right, then we can start worrying about those little things. So now, we're going to start a first attempt template at our cut line going down the side of the front of our lower hull. One of the things that you're going to notice about Voyager is that when you're looking at the front end of the saucer, directly behind, or excuse me, not the front end of the saucer, the front end of the lower hull, you're going to notice that the deflector dish, it has like a piece behind it. It has like a cut line, and there's like a little bit of detail. And it goes within the same angle as the very front of the lower hull. So what we're trying to do right now is get an idea of our cut line, of what we're going to cut into. Because if you notice right now, that Voyager, the front end is flat and it needs to be curved. So trying to figure out that template. Maybe we can do a pattern of two. I'm using the red because, again, red, blue, anything outside of your whites and your grays, colors that are going to stick out that you can use as a builder block. So this way it's not blending in with my build. I'm just trying to get an idea, maybe going with a pattern of two, if I can do this and successfully cut into my ship and give it the angle that it needs to have. The best way to do this is exactly what we're doing right now. You can see that I'm just doing a test strip on the outside, getting an idea of how it looks, but now I realize that even where I'm starting, I have to add some more layers to the bottom, because otherwise the pattern, I won't be able to continue it. Now you're also going to notice I'm only adding on layers underneath that red outline that I just added. I'm not doing it above. The reason for this is because that red pattern, it's going at an angle, going down and going back. So anything above this, we don't have to worry about that. We only have to worry about this underside because we're going back and down at an angle with the cut line. So we need to add more rows in the back so we can finish our template, because this is eventually what we're, let me rephrase, this is what we're going to be cutting into the hull, so that when we're looking at the lower hull from an angle, we'll have that nice angle of it cutting instead of it being flat right now. We're just more or less planting the seeds of what we're going to be cutting into later on. Now what sucks right here is that the shape of my lower hull is differentiating. So instead of it being a pattern of 1, it goes in by 2. So I have no choice right now, but I have to make a change. Somehow I have to make a change. Because I'm going at a pattern of 2 going down, now I have to adjust the pattern of going in with a pattern of 2, but a single row. You can see I need to add a few more layers on the bottom side only. You don't need to do this for the top right now. We are eventually going to add them, but let's not make more work than what we need to. We're going to work smarter and not harder with this build as much as we can. And that's one of the reasons why I'm throwing down my builder blocks right now instead of just cutting into the hull. It's never a bad idea to plan ahead. That was something else I talked about over this weekend, because one of the people that were asking me the questions, they were like, I'm probably jumping ahead of myself, and if I am, my bad. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm like, it's never a bad idea to plan ahead. The more you plan ahead, the better your build's going to come out. And this right here is a clear example of planning ahead, getting an idea of how things are going to look. Once you have an idea of how things might look, it gives you an idea of what changes you need to make it come out even better. But I think that's going to do it for us today. We've gotten a decent amount of work done. We have a ton to do. But if you have any questions regarding today's episode, please drop a comment below. I definitely love hearing from everybody. If there's any builds that you want to see me do, you can drop a comment or join the Discord and click under build suggestions. But bear in mind, right now I really need ideas for small one-off builds that I can do. It could be anything. It does not have to be Star Trek related or ship related. It can be anything nerd related in general. Also, Voyager Season 2, the interior. If that's something that you guys want to see, you need to drop a comment below and let me know. If I don't have a ton of people asking me for that, that's something that I'm not going to do. We're just going to move on if I don't see that there's any interest for it. Also, we've got the Enterprise D Season 2 tutorial that's going to be coming up in the near future. But following Voyager will be the Excelsior 2 class tutorial. I'm really looking forward to that. And then, of course, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we've got the Enterprise A 1.1 tutorial coming up. So those of you that have been waiting for the Enterprise A and you want that tutorial, listen, we are right there. We're at 806. We're less than 200 away of getting to that benchmark. So if you can help me out, ask your friends to join my Discord, or excuse me, my YouTube, if this is something that they can get into. Ask them to subscribe to my channel. I can't thank you guys enough for that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, again, hit that like and subscribe button, helping me support the channel. I can't thank you guys enough for that, but I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. I'll catch you in the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.